Hello YouTube, thought I'd do another video here. If you've been watching my channel, following my videos, I designed and I'm testing a interface board that's for handhelds. That this interface board does not use any Vox. You don't have to modify the handheld. It's plug and play, so you can hook up a computer to your handheld so you can get Zell, date and time, weather announcements, repeater ID. Now you're probably wondering, well, why would I want to do that? There may be times you want to get a repeater online, so to speak, and that repeater does not have any hookups in the back of it. You can get any repeater online if you can program the handheld to that repeater frequency, and of course you got to be within range of that repeater. Now with a handheld, you can put an external antenna on and have an antenna outside if you need the range. So that's the nice thing about a handheld, and they're cheaper than a mobile radio. But I started to think here the other day, could I hook up a mobile radio to this same circuit, do a little modifications to the circuit, and can I hook up a mobile radio? And the answer is, it looks like I can. I'm still testing this though, but I'm going to show you something that's going to be kind of a neat little feature if everything goes well. I have a mobile radio here that is hooked up. Notice there is no DB9 at all plugged in here. So what does that mean? Well, if this keeps working the way it looks like it's been working, I could use any mobile radio. It does not need to have a DB9 connector, as long as it's got an external speaker plug and of course a plug for a microphone. I could take any mobile radio and make it do Zell, date, time, repeater ID, all that good stuff. So that just opens up more possibilities. You can take a cheap 15-watt radio, mobile radio, or you can take a 25-watt, or you can take a 50-watt. That just adds more radios, possibilities to this circuit. So here's what I did is all these mobile radios, all the mic configurations are all different. So instead of trying to figure out what cables to make and what cables should I have, I'm just going to have a screw terminal that's going to be labeled. And then you would get your own wire, your own cable, and you would hook up the mobile radio accordingly. Now, it's not that difficult. We hook up a cable to the speaker out. There's two wires, ground and speaker out. That would go to those terminals, speaker out and ground on here. The mic is going to have three wires. And to get the mic pin out, usually the owner's manual has it in there. If not, then you'll have to email the company and hopefully they'll have the mic pin out. But I just took a CAD5 cable that's for computers, network cable, and I just cut off the end and I spliced back the wires. I figured out what wire color is what because this plug is clear, so it's kind of easy to see the wires, what color. And then I just found out in the owner's manual what pins I need to, ground, mic, PTT, like that. And then I just hooked them up accordingly to my terminals. I have them labeled, obviously. So, and then I still have the cables hooked up here for handheld. So I'm thinking of adding this particular function to this board. Now, here's another thought I just had here when I was setting up to do this video. I started to think, could I use two mobile radios and have a full repeater? That would mean I could take a 15-watt mobile radio, two of those, and make a repeater out of it, or a 25-watt, or a 50-watt. So that's my next thought. Could I add circuitry to make it do that? Then it would be a full repeater that would have Zell, date, time, weather announcements, repeater ID, with any mobile radio out there. So that's a whole nother video. Keep that in mind. But today we're going to just do one mobile radio. I have here, if you're wondering, this is the Retevis RT97S. We're not using the DB9 adapter. There's no cable back there, as you can see. We're using the external speaker and then the microphone. Now this circuit I'm testing is about 75% done. I still have to build the sound part of this circuit. So The point being, there's no sound on this circuit. So in today's video, you're not going to hear sound. We're going to be testing key ups. And I want to make sure the thing here, like I said before, this circuit does not use any Vox. It does not, there's no radio modifications. In this case, we're using a mobile. You just got to plug in the cables. No Vox at all. Now, Vox is interesting. If you don't know what Vox is, it's voice activation. Vox does work. It might be a little finicky, but it does work. If you add a delay to it, that kind of helps. But the thing with Vox is that if you stop talking and pause, usually 90% of the time, it's going to drop that transmission. And as soon as you start talking again, it's going to rekey up the radio. So the person listening to it, it's going to hear you cut on and off. That's the bad thing about Vox. This circuit does not use Vox, and I'm going to show you, and I'm going to prove it to you in this video that as of so far so good. I still got to do more testing, but I'm going to show you that in a minute. So I have this radio. It's programmed in my repeater frequency. That's off camera. The repeater we're using today's video is going to be the Retevis RT97S. That is not hooked up whatsoever to internet. Normally I'd use my mobile radios, but I had to take that repeater apart to use the radio for this video. I'm also going to have a handheld here that is programmed to the same repeater that is off camera. But I like to make note of something that's important. I have a plugged into the microphone of this handheld. By doing that, I disable the built-in microphone because there's no cable hooked up to the end of this plug. You can do the same thing. You can just use a cable and just don't have it hooked up on the other end. But the point being is there's no microphone. It's disabled. So this cannot pick up any background noise. It's going to be dead silence. And I want that because I want to test to make sure this circuit does not rely on sound or Vox. So this is programmed the repeater that's off camera to the Retevis repeater. I also have a simplex repeater that you cannot see that's off camera. I got to turn down my, I don't know if you heard that, my date and time went off. But I have a simplex repeater that's programmed to the same repeater frequency. The purpose of that is that's going to copy what I do. I like using that because it lets me test the receive function of my interface board. So if I dead key a radio and then I unkey it, that repeater or that simplex repeater is going to do the same thing. So that helps me test my circuit, the receive part of it. So I have that also running. Now let's call up Zell here. I want to explain a couple things here with Zell and date and time. Okay. We have date and time and weather announcements here. I have obviously Zell here. Now I want to explain something. This cuckoo bird here will go behind a shutter only when a radio is keyed up. Doesn't matter if it's a handheld, does not matter if it's a mobile. That cuckoo bird will go behind the shutter. The purpose of that is because if someone's talking on a radio, you don't want date and time to key up and talk over them. So when that cuckoo bird's behind the shutter, that tells the software, oh, we got to wait here. Someone's using the radio. As soon as they're done and that cuckoo bird goes out of the shutter, it's going to play date and time. So that prevents it being keyed up over you as you're using the repeater. Now, as for Zell, we don't have to worry about Zell because what you can do with Zell is when you set up your Zell repeater channel is you can make the repeater not be a moderate. Have it be a regular person. Then it cannot key up over people because, as you know with Zell, if you're familiar with it, if you try to talk with over somebody, it just beeps back at you. So that's how you do that with Zell if you want your just to have Zell on a repeater. I have that option that we can turn date and time off of Zell so it doesn't play on there. I won't get into that part of the video. That's my last video, which still applies to this setup. Now, that brings me another point. If the repeater is not yours, do not get it online unless you ask the repeater owner for permission. He may not want it on Zello. He may not want it doing weather announcements. Whatever the case may be, you best ask first. Do not get any repeater online just because you can do it. So please do not do that. Okay, so now we're going to, so when I key up a radio, Zello, you're going to see the receive right here. You'll see the status goes from waiting to active, sending no to yes. Again, we won't have sound in this video. I just want to test the key up. When I key up a tablet or a smartphone, you're going to see transmit here. This will be transmit. And you'll see status going from waiting to active, receiving no to yes. So I have a tablet here that's on my Zello channel, my repeater test Zello channel. So you'll see that. When this is receiving, you'll see a green, the circle will turn green, and then obviously on the software part of it, you'll see, depending on what mode we're in, you'll see the status go from waiting to active, and etc., etc. Okay, so that's what we're going to be watching for. Now, another thing I want to point out here is that when I do this, if I'm transmitting, obviously with a handheld, you'll see this light go to red. You will see the Zello here, the green goes to receive. It's receiving it. You'll see Zello under receive go from waiting to active. And then on the mobile, there's no LED light to indicate receive, unfortunately. It's on the display. But you'll see my interface board here, light turn on. Obviously, you'll also see, like I just mentioned, Zello key up. So you'll see that too. Now, when this radio is transmitting, you will see the red light on here. On this right here is a red light. You'll see a red light on here. And then you'll see a green light on here. And then at the transmit, I'll be pressing on here. That's how we're going to do the transmit. Now, when I do this, I'm not going to talk at all. It's going to be silence. I want to see if this radio stays keyed up. If I did this right, it should not drop at all. Even though there's no sound whatsoever, it should not drop. So let's go ahead and start this. And after I'm done, when I unkey this radio, my simplex repeater is going to copy me and redo it. So I'm going to key up this radio. You're going to see a red light here. You'll see a green light on the interface board. You'll see a green circle, and you'll see Zello keyed up under the receive. So I'm going to key up and not talk, and let's see this stays keyed up with no sound. And also remember, the microphone's disabled in this radio too. Now my simplex is going to copy me and key up for the same amount of time. There you go. That was at least 10 seconds. I didn't, approximately, of dead keying. If that was Vox, it would have cut off. So that's working. That mobile's working so far. Let's key up the tablet and make sure that it keys up the mobile. So we're going to put this here, right there. You're going to see a green light on here. You're going to see a red light on here. And you're going to see a red light on here. And when I unkey, my simplex is going to retransmit that, so we'll be back to receive mode. Oh, then you'll see Zello in the transmit mode when I key up this. So let's do that. And now my simplex will key up. And that is working really well. Now, if you notice, the cuckoo bird, like I said, will not go behind the shutter when I key up a tablet. It will only do that when the radio is keyed up. So when my simplex repeater, which is a handheld, keys up, that's why the cuckoo bird went behind the shutter. This thing is working. This has just added more capabilities to this board. Now, I'm still testing this. I still got to build a sound circuit, so we're still not, 100% yet. I'm about 75%. But now, like I said, I'm thinking about maybe even adding circuitry so I can use 2 mobile radios and have a full repeater with the capabilities of Zell daytime and all that stuff. So I'm pondering that idea. So I may be doing a video about that. We'll see. But so far, so good. I can use a mobile radio that does not have any hookups, no DB9, nothing plugged in back here, as you can see. Just has the, let me move the, turn off the, I'm just using the speaker out and the microphone jack, and that is it. So technically speaking, any mobile radio will work with this interface board, along with, technically speaking, any handheld, no radio modifications, no Vox. So there you have it. As I mentioned in another video, if depending on how all this works out, and if it works out where I can go ahead and start to make this board available, I got to have enough interest. So please share my videos on social media, on Facebook, on forums, Instagram, whatever y'all use out there. Please share it so we get enough interest, possibly, to make it worth my while to keep pursuing this. So there you have it. I'll put my email address also in the description below, so you can shoot me an email saying, hey, I might be interested in this. So keep that in mind. Again, go to my forum. I have a lot of information there. It's free to sign up. A lot of software. All the software that I'm using in the video is on my forum, so please check that out. I think that's really about it for this video. Any questions or comments, please post them down below. Please subscribe. Thank you, and have a good day.